What's going on, Jerome's? So the Minnesota Vikings did not make the playoffs. Unfortunately, falling to 7-10. All the injuries, all the turnovers, all the woulda, coulda, shouldas, just piled up this season, and it's really unfortunate the way that things ended up, but there is still hope on the horizon, even though the Vikings have a lot of question marks this offseason, a lot of moving parts of who's going to be back, who won't be back, and the Vikings, especially with the Lions and allegedly the greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers starting to level up, the Bears having the number 1 and number 9 overall pick. Maybe they get Caleb Williams. The Vikings going to have to do some work in the NFC North going forward. But over at The Athletic, I feel like there were just a smidge touch reactionary. So, Mike Jones over at The Athletic ranked the 18 NFL teams that missed the playoffs who could get back in 2024. So a power ranking of the non-playoff teams for their chances heading into next season. Not going to spoil the list, but the Panthers were at the bottom. And the Bengals were number 1 with Jumpin' Joe Burrow coming back. Who knows what happens with T. Higgins, but I mean, with Burrow and Chase, you're always going to have a shot, man. And the Vikings clocked in at number 10. And full disclosure, the Bears were at 8, but a lot of that was because they have the number 1 and number 9 overall pick. But the Vikings clocking in at 10. Buckle up, Vikings fans. Plenty of uncertainty looms. Does Kirk Cousins return as quarterback? But I was told by the national media that Kirk Cousins was bad, so wouldn't that be addition by subtraction? Or does he depart in free agency? Does defensive coordinator Brian Flores get another head coaching job? It doesn't appear so, as Flores hasn't been linked to any jobs, hasn't been formally requested to interview anywhere. I thought that his best shot was going to be New England, given familiarity, but they're in with Gerard Mayo. If they both return, that would seemingly position Minnesota to bounce back after a disappointing 1-6 finish to start to the end. Try it again. Minnesota to bounce back after a disappointing 1-6 finish to the end of the season. Flores seems likely to move on, but regardless, general manager adofo-mensah and coach Kevin O'Connell are a smart duo and should figure out a way to keep the Vikings relevant. That's the whole thing too. Hey, forget making a big leap forward to try and win a Super Bowl. Let's just stay relevant. And there are some things up in the air. Flores looks like he's going to be back. Would love to see him year 2 with his defense. And I mean, basically every defender to a man talks glowingly about Brian Flores. Flo himself has said that this is the most fun year of coaching that he's had. Now, give this man a damn defensive line so he doesn't have to sort of MacGyver a defense together, and give him another offseason to marinate some of his new ideas. Absolutely love it, man. And Kwesi, Kevin O'Connell, you saw what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell did in year 3. They allegedly won the division. They allegedly won a playoff game, and that's the bar. That is going to be the standard for these two going forward, because we're already out of the woods in terms of the competitive rebuild part. I mean, the Vikings have jettisoned a bunch of high-priced veterans, and they freed up cap space, and I actually think that they're in a pretty damn good cap situation right now, given the circumstances. But they got to start hitting on draft picks, as well as they got to find their quarterback of the future. And another big question is what's going to happen with Danielle Hunter. He's out of contract. For my money, he is one of the best edge rushers in the game. Also, he plays the run. I think he's a great teammate, and he fit in perfectly with what Flores did on defense this year. Career high 16 and a half sacks. And frankly, of the front 7, he was the only defender to consistently be able to get his pass rush by himself. Also, I would include Ivan Pace Jr. in that mix. But the main question is, what's going to happen at quarterback? What's going to happen with Kirko? Will he be Backo? Will it be a 1-year dealo or a 2-year dealo or longer? How much is it going to be? How is it going to be when you don't know me anymore? And with Jefferson, like, is JJ signing his extension contingent on Kirko being back, or at least having a plan in place at quarterback of the future? And this is one of the deeper quarterback classes in NFL history, if not the deepest. And the Vikings at 11, I mean, are perfectly positioned to either make a move up for a top 3 quarterback, or get ready for that second wave of QBs in the middle of the first round. So, I mean, there's a lot of things up in the air. And like we said, the Vikings salary cap, it isn't in a terrible place, especially since you factor in that this includes the $28.5 million dead and the $14 million change dead from void years from Kirk and Danielle. Now, if one or both of them are back, that dissipates and prorates over the subsequent years. The Vikings can save $11 million and change by moving on from Harrison Smith or if he retires. So there's always money in the banana stand. The Vikings can figure things out. And yes, it kind of sucks not having a third-round pick, but having 11 and 42. I mean, the Vikings also, like we said, have some money in free agency. Do they go after a Christian Wilkins? Do they go after a corner or edge in free agency? Do they go all in at the top of the draft for a quarterback? I mean, there's a lot of question marks, but I mean, the Vikings are 1 year removed from being 13-4, want some more, win the division. And this year, you could say if Kirk doesn't get hurt, are the Vikings in the playoff places? I think pretty confidently, yes. Are the Vikings? Would the Vikings have challenged the Lions for the division? I think confidently you could say yes. So yeah, the NFC North is apparently leveling up all over the place, but the Vikings will certainly bounce back from that horse bleep 2023 season, and I think that the pieces are in place for the Vikings to make a run at this thing. I really do believe that. But your thoughts are thoughts. The Athletic says that the Vikings are the 10th best non-playoff team heading into 2024. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts and their thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.